Oh, I was not expecting that. Can you imagine if she's Kenjaku? Thank you to our final patrons, Strawbones, Widow4765, Midnight Gemlord, Artgoon, and Sean. Now, before this breakdown / discussion on chapter 211 of Jujutsu Kaisen, please don't forget to leave your own on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. You can support Frizzle as count them $1 a month. You know, exclusive videos, early content, and more. You'll see now become a member of the channel for Frizzle as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, let's hop into the review. What's up, guys? Uncle the Pencil here, and here we are to chapter 211 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as the ripening. Like, that's quite a name right there. I get it, because obviously this is the ripening of the Japanese people to all get turned into a great big old cursed super monster. But like, the ripening, I don't know. I think of fruit, and I don't think all of Japan counts as a big old fruit, but now that I look at it, it's kind of shaped like a banana. Okay, enough of that. Let's hop right into the chapter itself. So we open up and we get to see that all the different colonies all over Japan are lighting up. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, only 9. Weird. 3 of the colonies aren't sufficient. That's why the whole process doesn't even happen in this chapter. Like, admittedly, once you see all these lights go off, if it were all 13 colonies, it should have technically just happened immediately. There's no real reason for delay, or at least as far as we know, there's no real reason for delay. So with that being the case, realistically, everything should be popping off, but it's those last 3 colonies that are currently getting sieged by the military that are probably slowly but surely getting the rest of their cursed energy up. Though it appears that Kenjaku didn't even care to wait and just immediately activated it. So Tengen is currently syncing with all of these people and getting all that cursed energy to turn into a big old cursed beast. And we see, due to all these things happening now, the world itself is kind of, I suppose, lack of a better term, it's glitching. Like, you can see by how suddenly night goes to day, or day goes to night, and inside a classroom or a business room, suddenly it gets dark. Or no, there's actually like this massive cloud coming over everything, to the point where it seems like multiple people are being affected. And I'll admit, once again, I say this occasionally with some authors, it feels like some of these characters are not drawn by Gege. Like, I feel like one of his assistants did it. Because looking at the girl on the second page, where she's like on her laptop, that doesn't look like a Gege drawn character, like at all. Like, the guy on the bottom of that same page looks just like a Gege drawn character, but the girl on top does not. And it happens again later in the chapter. I'll see if I can remember when. But there is this massive curtain of darkness that is going over everything. And people feel it. They notice something strange. They're like, wait a second, something doesn't feel right. The air is super dry, which is very interesting. That's an very interesting effect of cursed energy being, I suppose, like just circulated throughout the entire population. It's literally drying out the air, almost like it's heating up, like it's cooking something. So we let Kenjaku cook a little bit too literally, and now he's literally baking the Japanese people. But regardless, we do get to see that it's not just in some places, it's in a lot of places, in family homes and everything. Like, everyone is not only feeling the air dry out, but in a home where they're talking about cleaning a filter, the darkness slides over them. Or really, ironically enough, it seems to retreat away from them. And bada bing, bada boom, they start shivering. They feel something wrong. And we get another shot of all of Japan getting lit up. And we count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 10, 11, I got 11 this time now. So I don't know, maybe I'm just miscounting it, but that Japan is drawn a lot weirder than the previous one in terms of, like, there's less clarity and less connection between all of them. So I can't necessarily distinctify them. I can't distinguish them as good as I could first panel. And once again, now I look at it, these panels don't even look like they were drawn by Gege. Like, who's drawing for this? Because it's not you, Gege. I recognize your art style. I know it too well at this point. What are you cooking right now, young man? What are you cooking? However, we do get to see that we are on the 16th of November at noon. And Maki has appeared within the Tokyo colony, I believe, number 1? I think this is Tokyo colony number 1. And she has just gotten here to lay out the facts. The pre-prep ending is one thing, but according to Itadori's older brother, Kenjaku took Tengen, which is crazy. Like, I know he literally saw Tengen's body. So, like, did he legit, like, scoop him up and be like, "I Urume, let's get it popping, kid. Let's do it." And then bada bing, bada boom, he went about it. I don't know. I just find it so crazy that, like, just took Tengen. I get it. Tengens and all their, like, technical / immortal or whatever visages were just that. They were visages or visages or whatever you would want to call them. They weren't actually the real Tengen. So obviously, considering they were just laid out there in that, like, closed hand stance, they could easily be taken. Though, ironically enough, this may sound wild, and I think when I go back and review that chapter, I think I need to talk about it. Why didn't they just end Tengen? Like, find his body, or her body, since it was a her, and just annihilate it. Like, have Maki Soul Splitter it, have Megumi's Divine Dogs eat it, have Itadori punch it. Like, if they remove Tengen from the equation, Kenjaku's plan fails. I get it, Tengen sets up a lot of the barriers and stuff like that, and then is the main reason for why Jujutsu Society is even stable, but Jujutsu Society isn't stable anymore. Gojo's gone. Realistically, there's no reason to have Kenjaku also be amped by amplifying his cursed energy and stuff like that through Tengen's barriers. You might as well have just ended them. I think Tengen didn't want that, obviously, because, you know, that's bad, and 2, it's against tradition, and 3, our characters aren't liked. Actually, now I think about it, Itadori probably wouldn't be down for it, but every other person there should have been down for it. I'm surprised Yuki didn't at least offer it. Because if you remove Tengen, this can't happen. Like, Kenjaku can do all he wants with cursed spirit manipulation, but he specifically needs Tengen. In fact, he's using the fact that Tengen is interlinked with all these curtains and barriers and amplifying cursed energy to even do this in the first place. So realistically, I'm gonna write a what if on what happened if they just slaughtered Tengen, because I don't think the Culling Games happen. I think the story literally ends, or at least we don't get to this point in the Culling Games where, like, the plot can still exist and stuff like that. Like, I just don't think it's plausible, because Tengen wouldn't be around for Kenjaku to come and slurp up. However, we do get to see that Itadori, Megumi, and Hana are all shocked to hear that this ended up happening. And we see with Kiara, I was about to call him Gojo, Choso is crying. And Maki continues to explain that Jujutsu High is just gone. It's in a bad state, and realistically, the only thing that even Choso himself can confirm is that Noritoshi Kamo is still alive, and Tsukumo's gone. Like, notably, they don't say Tsukumo died. And I'm not saying that I believe she's gonna be alive and come back. I have mixed thoughts on her not existing anymore. I get it. Trust me. Gege brutalizes all characters, not just female characters. We're not Horikoshiing on this one. You're not gonna suddenly hear me claim that Gege wasted Tsukumo in the same ways that Stars and Stripe was wasted. I don't believe that. Kinda. It's mixed thoughts. I'm gonna make a whole video talking about Tsukumo and how I feel like she was still done dirty. Don't get me wrong. She was still definitely done dirty. But the idea here that she doesn't officially get, like, banged, it seems a little bit suspicious. I'm not saying I expect her to be alive, but I don't expect her to be gone. Like, like, hypothetically, if we have some, like, time dilation nonsense, because, you know, Gege, he, if any author, or they, I'm not sure, does Gege have a confirmed or preferred gender? I just consistently hear them called he, but Gege essentially could just do what Gege does best and create a really convoluted explanation for why she should survive, or why she did survive. Because, you know, black holes cause time dilation, and Tsukumo was still alive when she made that black hole. She was even conscious enough to restrict the black hole and stop it alongside Tengen. So hypothetically, she could have put herself in a weird vortex where either A, she just ripped herself out of existence, because, you know, black holes do that, and we don't know what's on the other side of the horizon. Sweet mother of mercy. Part of me wants to find out what's on the other side of a black hole, but the other part is like, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe there's something over there that we shouldn't find out about. But if this is the case, and we go with, like, the idea that it's just time dilation, and, like, a black hole sort of makes it so that you see the entire universe linearly, like, you see all of time in one spot, where you can essentially see the Big Bang and the end of creation at the same time in a black hole, because things are moving so, well, you're being torn apart at such a rate that all time perception is just random and gone. Like, how essentially moving at the speed of light allows you to move in technically, like, zero time, I believe, according to quantum relativity or whatever. I'm sorry, I need to brush up on my astrophysics. But even still, I could definitely see with Gege not officially putting her down, that she could maybe come back on some time dilation nonsense. Would I be mad? Not necessarily, because I'm thinking of it before it happens, so I don't necessarily care. But I think really with the pace that Gege is going at, it's kind of unlikely. Like, notably, we, at least if the end of this chapter is to be believed, and Gege's statement, which said that they want to end the manga in this year, I don't think we're really gonna get her back. Same thing with Nobara. I'd really be shocked if Nobara actually came back at this point. Because how many more chapters do we have left? What, January's over. Like, there's no more chapters in January. We get 12 months. And like, what? How many chapters we get this month? Like, barely 2, I do believe. Let's see. Yeah, we had, jeez. We had 3 total chapters this month. We're not getting a chapter next week because I believe JJK and every manga in Shonen Jump is on break. Let me double check. Oh no, so this one isn't on break. So we're getting another chapter in 7 days. It's only MHA that's on break. So with that being the case, like maybe we can fit it. But like a big thing I really wanted to see was all the sorcerers going up against the military. Like, we got quick glimpses of it. We got Hazanoki. We got a little bit of Higuruma. But, like, I want to see the battles. Like, I want to see them fight. Like, I want to see Ryu standing on top of a building as a whole army approaches him. And he's like, sorry, I'm already full. So, you deserts are going to have to wait. And then he just blasts them all away. Because he's not actually waiting. He's just going to end them all. I want to see Uro, like, taking a stream of grenades or bullets thrown at her. And she just spins around and throws it back. I want to see Hazanoki just dropping explosive body parts everywhere. I want to see Kashimo and Akari fighting for their lives. Well, realistically, not fighting for their lives. But Kashimo and Akari just running through pretty much every single one of the army. Like, I want to see that. I want to see Maki fighting for her life. Though, admittedly, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Imagine Maki against the U.S. Army. And we essentially get to see her just running through people. Heck, Megami and Itadori. I want to see the continuation of that. We don't even get that. Like, notably, we don't even see them really ask about it. I mean, kind of in the last chapter, but not really. Like, I want to see some battles. I want to be some fights. Like, this is supposedly the big bomb that Reggie was talking about. And if we're already cutting to the Tsumiki reveal and stuff like this, like, are we really going to have time for this bomb to really marinate? Like, I wonder if Gege really is cutting this short because of the backlash that the Culling games have been getting in comparison to Shibuya. Like, notably online, there's been this massive discussion going around where Shibuya was peak, Shibuya is peak, I love Shibuya, like, all over Shibuya's meat. And people have been, like, the opposite with the Culling games. The Culling games are slow, the Culling games are boring, the Culling games this, the Culling games that. So I wonder if Gege's rushing through this because they think, oh, well, they don't like this, so why would they care about, like, the military fighting sorcerers if they didn't even want to see the sorcerers fighting sorcerers? But, like, I don't know. I think it would have been interesting. I think it would have kept the tension up. Because right now, the fact that they're just kind of casually standing on the building and talking about this, like, the whole military isn't even here, I don't know. That's kind of weird, especially considering this is supposed to be the military of multiple other nations. Like, this isn't just the one nation, it's like all of them all jumping to Japan, because Kenjaku went and advertised this to everybody. He went to China, America, who knows where else. So I feel like there should definitely be a bit more chaos about this, and like we could have a character come in and be like the representative for the external forces, and they beat them down and explain the plan, and then we get the military's help. Like, there could be such an interesting story spun here, but it seems like we're skipping all over this. But yeah, you know, it'd be like that. Wouldn't be like that sometimes. However, we do get to see that Maki, with the complete understanding and analysis of Tsukumo, is not all too sure about the scenario now. As she says, Tsukumo is the same rank as Yuta, yet despite that, she lost, and working with a death painting, no less. With that being the case, we always knew Kenjaku would be a challenge, but at least the back of the prison realm is safe. Well, no, I read that completely wrong. But essentially what she says is like, yeah, Kenjaku body bagged a special grade sorcerer, and none of us have any scaling to special grades outside of the 2 special grades we have with us, and we don't even know where they are exactly. Like, we don't know where Hikari and Yuta are. They do not appear in this chapter. Wait, let me double check. Hikari doesn't. We see Kashimo in this chapter, but notably, let me double check. I don't believe we ever see Hikari. Oh, no, we do. We do see Akari. He has a shirt on and everything. So never mind. We just don't see Yuta in this chapter. So Yuta, the one, like, confirmed special grade we have, is nowhere to be seen. So we have an equivalent to Toji, who has no special grade scaling, fight me. And we have a 10 Shadows user who does not have control of Mahorga, so that's not a special grade threat. We have Yuji, High grade 1, but not special grade. I mean, Angel may be special grade, but even then, we don't know. We haven't gotten enough feats for her yet. So honestly, we're in a really rough spot. The only good thing, as Maki points out, is that the back of the prison realm is safe, but even still, what good are you going to do with that? Like, unless you get the front from Kenjaku somehow, like you all need to jump him, I don't really see anything happening here. And something that's interesting is that Itadori and Megumi, like, seem to be shocked that Maki's being so casual and saying this. Like, Itadori's like, how can she say that so calmly? And Megumi's like, Maki has changed in just a few days. What happened? This is the exact same Maki. Like, I don't see why she would be beat up about this or really care about it. Like, she didn't know Tsukumo. Choso's still alive. Sure, the situation's awful, but what, do they want her to be hysterical or something? Like, yeah, things got bad. Oh, well, we need to take care of it. Like, I'm not even sure if I would deliver this information in a different way. Like, she met Tsukumo once. I'm not sure how much time together this little gang of ours spent together, but I don't think it was that much. So, I'm kind of shocked that they're saying this. I think this is just Gege trying to use them as mouthpieces to show how much Maki changed, but like, Gege, we were there. We we saw her development live on air. We've been reading the manga, Gege. Don't worry, you weren't gonna spoil us. Like, we know this. You don't need Itadori and Megumi saying that. Because, I don't know, this doesn't seem any different. I don't see a Maki before her Naoya fight or her Naoya rematch and a Maki after her Naoya rematch being that different and delivering this information. But maybe that's just me. Like, any Maki fans or any Maki experts, because I know I'm not the most versed on her character, let me know down below. But we do get to see that Itadori, with that, realizes, like, hold on a second. If the big bad already won, why have we not lost yet? Like, legitimately, if he has Tengen and still has cursed spirit manipulation, why hasn't the merger started? Shouldn't we all sort of just be slowly but surely getting absorbed into a Tengen super monster? And we see, specifically Angel, not Hana, speak up. Sorcerers can probably resist the merger with cursed energy, so nothing's happening in the colonies, but it may have started outside. Very interesting assessment. And it's interesting that the sorcerers can resist the merger with cursed energy. I wonder how that's going to, like, look. Like, how is that going to work? And does that mean we're going to get, like, something really epic? Like, hypothetically, there are two ways I see this whole merger going. Specifically because of how Kenjaku mentioned that Tengen actually ended up looking like Sukuna. I could hypothetically see this being like the creation of another Sukuna. Maybe the Culling Games previously were done in order to create Sukuna in the first place. Because we don't necessarily know how the human Sukuna became the curse that he was. Like, did he pass away of non-sorcerer means and then bada bing bada boom he became the king of curses? I guess, maybe. But with that being the case, I could see that hypothetically we could get the old versus the new. Like, the old Sukuna coming out and fighting this new Sukuna, which would be Tengen empowered by all of this extra cursed energy. I think it'd be cool. I could either see that, or what I think would be even more epic is that it's everyone versus this cursed beast. Like, we get Hazanoki, Ryu, Uro, Itadori, Megumi, Angel, everyone really. Hakari, Yuta, all of them all jumping this cursed beast to try and get rid of it. And, like, maybe restore the people inside somehow. Because notably, like, unless the series is going to end on a really dark note, I'm not exactly sure if Gege is going to really just wipe the entire population of Japan. I don't know. Because, like, what would they? Like, maybe. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen is a very dark story. But that's what has to happen here. Like, if Kenjaku succeeds at all, and, like, the merger actually happens and we get to see it, then, like, there should be no coming back from that. I don't think they can just undo it. So all of Japan is going to be gone. Like, I get sacrificing a few soldiers, a few sorcerers, a few non-sorcerers, but, like, all of it? We're just going to sack all of Japan? Really, Gege? Are we really going to get that far? I don't know. Either we're going to get that far and there's some way they can at least be, like, salvaged or restored, or really it's just going to be that dark. But regardless, we do get to see that apparently people were affected, according to Maki, but it only made the news, and Japan really hasn't shifted that much. So it's happening, it's going on, but I think, assumedly, due to not all the colonies having the cursed energy requirement, as Kenjaku mentioned last chapter, I just think the situation can't happen fully yet. Like, it's starting to try and draw in and merge and form itself, but a little bit more life ceasing needs to happen within the colonies for the cursed energy amounts to be met. And that's through the military, which is why I hope we can still maybe get a little bit of the military arc, but I don't think we're going to cut away from this Tsumiki twist at the end of the chapter. So I don't know, it's up in the air. But we do get to see that Megumi's like, I don't know why, but maybe Kenjaku can't start the merger yet. Or maybe he just doesn't feel like it. It's definitely he can't start. I don't think he, like, Kenjaku has been waiting a long time for this Megumi. I don't think it's just because, I think I'll do it on Tuesday. Like, I highly doubt that. However, we do get to see that Itadori is like, whatever. Regardless of this, let's just be happy that the bad guy won, but we haven't lost yet, and let's take care of Tsumiki first, and then we'll work with this. Speaking of which, why didn't Senpais add the rules sooner? We already decided what to add. It kind of went like this. And it was the transferring points, entry and exit of colonies, communication across colony borders, and leaving the culling games. And we kind of spend, like, admittedly, kind of a wasted amount of time. Not too much. I think enough happens in the chapter still. I wouldn't call the chapter, like, an exact waste. Like, in the My Hero chapter this week, nothing happened. Like, nothing too crazy. Like, a group went from the sky to the ground. That's about it. That's all that happened in the previous, or in the MHA chapter this week. Meanwhile, actually, nothing really happens in this chapter, because the merger doesn't happen, but we get a lot of updates on characters. We get to see where characters are, which I think is a bit more important considering where we were left off in the previous chapter. And we get to see, actually, not really. So nothing really happens this chapter, except for Tsumiki, but I guess Tsumiki is a very big twist. So, we can make it work. So we do get to see that Megumi goes on to explain, well, to start with 1, culling game players are subject to the curse technique removal if their points don't change for 19 days. That means messing with their brains. It amounts to, death. The point is to force players to end each other. We wanted to add a rule against that. Or no, we wanted to add a rule for point transferal so players could change their scores without, slaughtering. And we already did that. Well, I mean, not really, but Higuruma did. And Maki's like, well, the problem for 1 and 3 is moving and communicating across colony borders. And we can't do that. And we see that Hana's like, really? What's the problem? Players can't go in and out of colonies, but I can. And everyone looks at her like, what? And Maki, another person who can traverse between the colonies, is essentially acting as their, like, living, breathing cell phone. Like, where did she come from? I forget which colony she was in, but where exactly did she run from? From the Naoya fight till now. Like, how far and how fast was she running? Because I'm assuming she was just sprinting away and doing stuff like that. Which is kind of crazy to think about, but considering how fast she is, it makes perfect sense. But we see that she asks, why is that? I have the angel curse technique. I don't know, that's just a weird sentence. I would have said, I have angel's curse technique. Can't you use it on others? And we see that Angel actually pops in to explain. I wonder what kind of voice Angel has. Would they have a female voice because they're incarnated through Hana, or would they have a male voice, or would it be gender neutral? I'm not sure. But let me hit an impression. That's tricky. Destroying the barrier technique with my curse technique requires the destroying of the root of the barrier. If I don't know where that is, we can only pass through the colonies. And that's interesting. Destroying the barrier technique with my curse technique requires destroying the root of the barrier. Okay, so this is essentially the reason why only they can pass through the barrier, because they're able to, like, apply the stopping of curse techniques to themselves in a general fashion, but they can't actually, like, fancy or, like, crazily remove it just on anybody. They need that little extra bit of sauce in order to get it done. And they aren't exactly sure how to make that work because they just don't know where the barriers are. Speaking of which, like, I wonder where those things are, because we know curtains get put up and they have, like, special totems that need to be guarded. I wonder where those are. I get it, it'd be, like, ludicrously impossible to find them considering how big the colonies are, but maybe if you sent, like, Maki on a run throughout a colony, she could maybe shut down the barrier, but who knows? It may not be worth it, especially considering how much time that would take for Maki to literally just start hunting down. It's not like she can even sense cursed energy. She can only see it. So I highly doubt she'd be able to find the totem easily. And anyone else would probably be too slow, even Itadori. So it's not worth it. However, we do get to see that with the rules that don't forbid colonies or communications from crossing colony borders, And like, I'll admit, I like Takaba, but he just be interrupting things. Like, he shows up on a roof somewhere far away, and he asks if they're talking about Makoto Kawamoto. I guess not. And we see Maki about to use Soul Splitter on Takaba, but joke's on her, it wouldn't work. And which is great. Like, would Soul Splitter work on Takaba? No, I think you just need Inverted Spear. You would need Inverted Spear. Inverted Spear of Heaven and the Black Rope are the only things that would actually work on Takaba. Because if his technique can override even Gojo's Infinity and like all of his techniques while Gojo still has like the 6 eyes and all that, I highly doubt there's any real way, shape, or form that Takaba could really lose to Soul Splitter, because it is still just a technique thing. So I highly doubt it would work. So Maki really has no win con against Takaba. No, like at this point, no character in the series except for Angel has a win con against Takaba. And who knows? Maybe if he thinks it's funny, their ability wouldn't even work on him. So maybe Takaba really is just the strongest in the verse. Let's not talk about Kenjaku. It can't hurt. It won't be bad. Like if we just send Takaba to fight Kenjaku, maybe we can make this work. Takaba may just break the plot. Because like hypothetically, couldn't he like find it funny? Like if they convince him to, couldn't he find it funny to just be able to walk through barriers and drag other people with him? Like, you know how there's like physical humor and like in cartoons you always have it to where like characters get pushed off cliffs and something like that? Like, couldn't you have Takaba do that and then like the rules of the world would just bend to him? I feel like they aren't utilizing him as well as they could. I get it. They don't necessarily want to provoke him or anything like that, and it's good to have him more as like a neutral ally and an asset rather than any sort of liability. But still, like, he's pretty strong. Then again, we have extra information that they don't. They don't really know Takaba's technique. Not even Takaba does. So he's broken, but balanced in a way due to lack of information. And we see that Itadori just grabs his Kogane like an iPad. I don't know why. It's just such an hilarious sight to me. He's like, hold on, I'll check the rules. Oh, you're right. Like he's literally just holding it like someone would hold like a piece of paper. I don't know why that's so funny to me. And we see that in reality, Itadori's like, oh, okay. So it's not really the rules that are a problem. It's the barriers themselves. And we see Angel's like, oh, well, no matter the rules, the barriers might still be unbreachable. And we see that's why nobody really added a rule. Because at that point, it was kind of hard and nearly impossible to do. We get a short sight of Wee Wee. Wee or Wee Wee. Like, I'm not sure which one's Wee Wee is worse. Wee Wee is definitely worse. But Wee Wee is like, ooh. He's also the communicator. He's also the guy that's kind of coordinating everything. And he's calling his sister and is like, this is exhausting. I wonder how much they paid her. Because I'm assuming his services were not cheap. And we do get to see that Maki's like, okay, we have only one option left, and that's really 4. We have to prioritize players leaving the game. And we see that Yuta... it's funny how he says Yuta's team, even though Yuta's by himself. Like, unless you want to count Rika. Like, if Rika's supposed to be part of Yuta's team. But essentially, she's just a Shikigami at this point. Though technically, actually, it's weird, because Rika is simultaneously a Shikigami, yet not a Shikigami, because she doesn't disappear after a domain, which means that she's somewhat autonomous. Like, I think post-domain, the Divine Dog would disappear from Megami, but Rika doesn't, so, interesting. But with that being the case, Yuta and his team, quote-unquote, transfer the points over to Fushiguro. Interesting. And we do get to see that the Kogane pops up and is like, hey, you want to add some rules? And Megami's like, exactly. And he goes on to say, Kogane, add a rule, allowing players to leave the culling game. Denied. That conflicts with Rule 7. Well, we expected that. What about adding a rule that allows players to leave if they invite a new player into the colony as a substitute? Denied. What? Then how can anyone leave the culling game? The culling game has a suggestion. A player could leave the game by expending 100 points to invite a new player into the colony as a substitute. Then approval is possible. Very interesting. I wonder why 100 points is so specific. Maybe it just plays into the previous rules about adding a rule to the culling game, but essentially this still feeds into Kenjaku's ideas, because obviously 100 points is 100 points. That's like 100 civilians or 20 sorcerers. So yeah, Kenjaku in the end is still getting the cursed energy that he requires. And we do get to see that Yuji's like, oh, well, if that's the case, there's no problem. We got 300 points. And we see Megami being like, no, wait, hold on. A substitute wouldn't change the number of players, but it required the slaughtering of at least 20 players for 100 points. Wouldn't that break the Rule 7 about long-lasting effects? And Yudi's like, that's right. That's why you're the thinker, Megami, that big old brain of yours. And we see that Kogane is like, a player could leave the game by expending 100 points to invite a new player to the colony as a substitute. Then approval is possible. Otherwise, you can suck my tail. And we see Megami being like, well, it's not negotiating anymore. This is our only way. That means we can't do all the rules we wanted. The culling game's primary objective can't be ignored, and it's going to keep going to sustain itself. Well, we're stuck out of luck. Understood. That's enough. And now we get a new rule. A player has added a new rule to the culling game. Rule 11. A player can leave the game by expending 100 points to invite a new player into the colony as a substitute. And notably, the lineup of characters we see here is pretty interesting. Number 1, we see Higuruma. He's, once again, not being attacked or anything by the military, which is kind of weird. Once again, he should be. They're all in the same colony, so he should at least be getting attacked. And notably, he took his jacket off, so he's kind of just chilling. He's loosening up his tie a little bit. That looks nice. We also get to see that one guy, I forget his name, the guy that Itadori met way back in high school or middle school when he was beating up people. That guy who guided him to Higuruma, he's there. We do get to see Kashimo, which is interesting, because, like, we only see a rushing background with him. We don't get the same defined background as we do with Hikari, which is weird because the two should be traveling together at this point. Unless Hikari said, like, hey, you can go do whatever you want still. In fact, get more points if you want. I couldn't really care less. But, like, come back when I call you. But I don't know how he's going to call him. So I wonder why Gege gave that a rushing background, and realistically it should still have, like, the same dark, cloudy background that Hikari and Panda have. Weird. Though we do get to see that Kamo is somewhere. I guess he's still chilling in the colony. I guess he's just laying low. Once again, all these characters should be getting attacked by the military. I don't know why they aren't. And same thing with Hazunoki. He's sort of just chilling up on a building. And interesting. Once again, I do believe these characters are going to come back in one way, shape, or form. I was hoping it'd be in military fights, but obviously that doesn't seem to be happening now. So it's cool to see all their reactions. And notably, we get to see Megami being like, all right, it's done. Maki, bring Tsumiki. I keep saying Sakumi. I think like Sakumo and Tsumiki are just overlapping in my brain. However, with that being the case, it's interesting that Maki only notes that Yuda's team sent the points. Like, that's it. And why didn't Hikari? Why is Hikari holding on to the points? Give them back. Unless Hikari's supposed to be, oh, right. Because I think Megami has points. He has 5 points, plus whatever points Reggie gave him. Then Yuta got, I believe, a sum like 200 something. So, yeah, maybe Hikari did send the 100 points, because that's where I had 359. So never mind. Let me get off Hikari's case. Maybe that's what Maki meant by Yuta's team, like him and Hikari. They sent the points. And we do get to see that with the request to bring Tsumiki to the colony, Itadori's like, and he starts stroking his non-existent beard. And Megami's like, hey, what's up? And Itadori's like, hold on a second. Wait. Y'all are speaking way too fast for your boy. Tsumuki's a player, but she's outside the colonies? Why ain't the math mathing right now? What's going on here? Wouldn't it be easier to send her points from a distance? And we see that Megami's like, not really. In reality, that would break rules 1 and 2. She might lose her curse technique and, perish the moment she leaves the game if she never joins the barriers, which is bad. And we see that Itadori's like, whoa, once again, Megami, you thinker, that big old brain of yours. I see why you're the team leader. And notably, we see that Megami's like, we got to get rid of these points as quickly as possible, by the way, because the longer we hold the points, the more inviting we are as targets. And while I am quite confident that we ran into a lot of the strongest players, like Kashimo and Higuruma, there may still be dangerous people lying about, waiting and hunting us. And we see that means Tsumiki has to get there fast. This is another plot point that sort of gets established, but doesn't go anywhere. Like, the whole idea that they could get jumped for having too many points, but they just don't. Like, this issue is introduced and dies within this very chapter. And we see that Maki's like, yeah, okay, I can do that, but I can't come with her. I don't have cursed energy, so the barrier doesn't recognize me. We get separated upon entry. And we see that Megami's like, that's what happened to us with cursed energy. You need a parachute. And Maki's like, What? Which is true. They did just get dropped in. I wonder how reasonably all the sorcerers should survive. Like, no problem. They should have reinforced themselves or something. But it's very interesting. We do get to see that on the 16th at 3 p.m. Do we get a time earlier? Ah, yeah, so it takes 3 hours to get Tsumiki. Nothing happens in 3 hours, which is, once again, crazy. They seem to not run into any military. They seem to not run into any other sorcerers hunting for their points. Nothing happens in 3 hours. I know I'm being, like, so sad and mean about the whole, like, nothing happening, but I don't know. It feels like this big old plot twist before this big old plot twist right here at the end, this isn't happening. And notably, something is interesting to note here. We go to the 16th at 3 p.m. and we see that Tsumiki's like, Ichichi, you'll go in for me? Maybe I should... No, we need sorcerers outside the colonies. I can't strike a plea bargain? Oh. Can't I strike a plea bargain or something? No. There isn't time. Tsumiki had 19 days to declare participation in the culling game. It's a miracle we've lasted this long, so time is pressing. Nita can handle the assistant manager workload. Besides... when I was still in school, I wanted to become a sorcerer. What? Give up being a sorcerer. You're useless. Get your driver's license, or I'll slap you. He's so rude. And that is young Gojo popping in once again. I feel like Gege has once again also heard the fandom sort of like scratching and itching for Gojo. That's why he appeared in the last chapter and this chapter, but specifically young Gojo, because current Gojo is still in the box. I wonder what he's doing. Like I know there's not much he can be doing in there. Like, he just pulled up his blindfold and probably went to sleep. But still, it's been days. Like, has he gone crazy yet? Has he started naming the skeletons? Has he counted his fingers enough? Like, it's been a minute since he got sealed away. It's the 16th. He's been alone for 16 days. What's the longest record? I forget. I know Vsauce did like a staying alone in a white room video. And I think he didn't last for more than a week or something like that. So Gojo's been in there for 2 weeks. He's going to be nuts. And with that being the case, we see that in reality, despite Gojo being rude to Ichichi, it actually ended up saving his life. If he became a sorcerer, he just wouldn't have made it, like, at all. There's nothing there. So while it was harsh, it was needed. And we get that nice little moment with Ichichi, but she manages to go in. We see Tsumiki arrive. Something is strange about how she arrives, though. Seemingly enough, she, 1, doesn't have a parachute, or at least from what it seems like. 2, she appears directly in front of them and walked right on in, as Hitadori said, which seems strange, because everyone else kind of just fell into the barrier, so how could she just walk on in? And notably, she doesn't seem shocked or surprised about anything. She just says, "Hi, Megami." Whoa, what a surprise. And Megami is also a little bit off. He's extremely calm for something about this. He's like, yeah. And Itadori is like, "Good luck, Tsumiki." And they bow to each other, and they're like, "Pleased to meet you." "Yeah, same here. I'm Itadori." They introduce each other. And Hana comes down from the sky, and is like, "Oh, so I wasn't necessary." Because it's extremely strange that she just managed to walk right on in and appear right where they were, even though they seem to be nowhere near their respective spawn point. And we see Itadori, I was trying to say Itadori. We see Itadori introduce Hana. And we see that she gets, well, essentially Hana was up there so she could catch you in case she dropped in from above. And Hana, you know, trying to give a Megami, she's like, "Hey, I appreciate the clout. Keep spitting on me, Itadori." And, well, I know some people want Itadori to spit on them. But I need to remind you, he's 60. We get to see that Megami's like, "All right, let's do this fast. Kogane?" Notice how he acts even more indifferently around family. How cute. Hana Itadori mock Megami. I know the whole point of last chapter is like, we don't want to replace Nobara, but she should have been packed. I'm sorry for saying that, but it's been how many years since she got packed? Like, notably, Shibuya wasn't even over by the time she was put in a pack. So, like, realistically, I think keeping her alive and kind of baiting her like this was kind of pointless. I think she should have just been gone. Though, with this being the case, we see that Megami's like, "All right, we gave you 100 points so you can leave the game. Maki told you to act as a substitute, right?" And Tsumiki is sweating as she looks at this. And then she says something different. She's like, "Kogane, add a rule allowing entry and exit across colony borders." And notably, Kogane doesn't actually give an immediate response, which is strange. Maybe the rule won't go through, and if so, this fake Tsumiki is about to get jumped. Like, realistically, like, everyone has different reactions. Like, Itadori It just goes, huh? Hana seems completely indifferent, though her eyes are a little bit wide. And Megami's eyes shrink. And as Tsumiki smiles at them, Megami asks, Who are you? And it's revealed that this Tsumiki is not actually Tsumiki at all. And notably, this was kind of foreshadowed in multiple ways. One, her actions. Two, how she got into the barrier without falling through the sky. She just appeared. Like, as Itadori mentioned, she just walked in. And three, she had a seal on her head that doesn't exist anymore. This seal may have done something to her. Assumably it did. Now, there are questions here. One, how? Well, no, not how. Who? Like, who is this? Is it just a random? Like, it could just be a random. Don't get me wrong. It is entirely possible that this is just a random taking Tsumuki's role so they could get an easy 100 points. Okay, that's fine. But with that being the case, it's also weird for it to just be a random. Part of me really believes it's kenjaku. I don't know why. Like, I don't think it is. Like, part of me doesn't think it is, but the other part of me is like, yeah, it is. I don't know why I'm in such, like, weird mental dichotomy right now. Like, I believe it is kenjaku, but at the same time, I don't think it is. It's just strange. I don't know why. But I don't see who else it could be. Like, who else could this be of anyone of importance, really? It could just be a random. Once again, that's the thing, but I feel like a random would be unsatisfying. Like, the twist of Tsumiki not being Tsumiki, even though it's the whole reason we had the Killing Games, as it were, realistically, and why we didn't just off Tengen. Like, I feel like it has to be somebody important, but who? Uro Ume still has their own body, so it wouldn't be her. Or them, whichever one they are. It shouldn't be kenjaku, one, because we don't see the stitches on their head, which is the trademark of kenjaku usually. And two, why would kenjaku do this? Why would he join the Culling Games when he specifically said that he wasn't going to join the Culling Games? He wasn't actually even going to be the game master. He specifically left that to the Kogane. I don't know. It seems very, very strange. I don't know who this is or who this could be. I could hypothetically see it being kenjaku, but like only partially manifested. Like maybe he took off a piece of his brain and like inscribed a seal into it and turned Tsumiki into this. Mainly so by doing this, by allowing entry and exit across colony borders, there can be more carnage because now the people can just teleport between them, and now the barriers that lack cursed energy can get the cursed energy. Maybe it's that, but I don't know. It's pretty strange. However, I do like the end of this chapter a lot, mainly because this is the most like flustered, out of sorts, and shocked we've ever seen Megami. And you know, I like seeing Megami getting his ankles broken because it's just neat to see. So overall, the chapter is really, really, really solid. I like multiple parts about it, from the opening discussion, or not the opening discussion, the opening itself showing the starting effects of the merger. Really good art by Gege, really good conveyance of what's happening. I like that. I also like how Maki just comes in and drops the facts. We get to see a little bit of Choso, and we get to see Kurara. This chapter is really, really good about showing us a bunch of characters. Not showing them really doing anything other than talking and standing around, but still, you know, I love my characters. And this big final endgame twist, I like it a lot. So overall, this is a really solid chapter. I think, once again, this is a chapter I only have issue with for external reasons. Like, on its own, the chapter's a 10 out of 10 because I can find nothing wrong with it other than maybe there's too much talking. But, you know, it'd be like that when it'd be like that sometimes. But, like, if I were to give it full context, I'd probably give it, like, a solid 7. Or maybe an 8. Because it just kills a whole bunch of plot lines. Like, it kills the whole military plot line by just not even addressing it. Like, this just doesn't exist in this chapter. 2, it sets up a plot line about people coming to attack them for their high level points. But that doesn't go anywhere. It literally gets introduced and dies within the same chapter. And those are 2 things I would really like to see. So 2 points are gone. So it's going to be an 8. If I give full context. However, that's what I think. Please tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notification also miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also I do have a Patreon down below. Support for as low as $1 a month. You'll exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off.